Hello, my myRockworld members. I have the pleasure to be here in Berlin with Bobby Kimball, the original voice of Toto. So welcome in Berlin, Bobby.
Thank you very much, Alex.
So let's start with the first question. Bobby, as we all know, you are the original voice of Toto. So please tell us a little bit about how you came to the band, how the band was founded, and how you all come together and how you got the name Toto.
Well, I didn't get the name Toto. Actually, and I have to tell you this, that was, being in Toto was one of the most fun things in my whole life. And I still love everyone in that band, and I love their music. And the reason I told you I am the original lead singer is the very first single that they released was Hold the Line, and I sang everything on it. But the thing about it is they had, David Paich was a lead singer on some songs, Steve Lukather was lead singer on some songs, and that was very, very nice.
And how you met the guys and who found the band? Who was the founder of the band?
Okay.
How did it come
All right,
this
I'll
together?
tell you how I met the guys. Here we go. I was living in Louisiana, and I played in about 15 bands in Louisiana until 1974. And a very, very good friend of mine that I played in two different bands with, his name was John Smith, Jon Smith. And he was a fantastic saxophone player. And anyhow, we played in two bands in Louisiana. But he got with a band called Edgar Winter's White Trash.
That we all know the band, yes.
Yes, actually, Edgar hired a whole band that John was in, and he was playing about half a mile down the street from me in another club.
Yeah.
That whole band, and Edgar hired that whole band.
Okay.
Well, anyhow, my God, the thing is there was a drummer in Edgar's band called Bobby Ramirez. Well, John Smith and Bobby Ramirez, the drummer, they were in Chicago. They were about to play a concert in Chicago, but John and Bobby Ramirez, they went to a nightclub. And at the nightclub, Bobby Ramirez had to go to the restroom, the toilet, and he had very, very long hair, and he was one of the most fantastic drummers. Oh my God. But he was using the toilet, the trough, and anyhow, he was using the toilet, and this guy walked in and was standing next to him, peeing, and he looked at Bobby, and he said, you look like a bitch. You got long hair. And they got into a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the security people, they knew Bobby Ramirez and John Smith because they actually wanted to hire Edgar Winter's White Trash in that club. And they heard the walls banging around. They ran in and they picked Bobby up off the floor, and they grabbed that guy that was hitting him and threw him out.
Yes.
Well, the deal is John Smith and Bobby Ramirez stayed in that club for about 45 more minutes, and they were walking out to their car. And when they got to the sidewalk, the guy that got thrown out of that, he was a black belt in karate.
Oh my God.
Very dangerous. He was hiding behind a car waiting for them. And when they walked to the sidewalk, he jumped out from behind a car and kicked Bobby in the side of his right head.
My God.
Oh my God. He was on the ground, and he was knocked out. And John picked him up and brought him to a hospital. They were supposed to do a concert the next night, but John brought him to a hospital, and he was in there for 4 days, and he died.
Oh my God! Yeah.
After 4 days, John came back. He went back to his apartment in Los Angeles. He didn't go to Louisiana.
Yeah.
He went to Los Angeles. And when he got there, he got a phone call from the bass player, the drummer, and the guitar player from the band Three Dog Night.
Yes.
They told John, the singers have left Three Dog Night.
Yes.
And we are going to form a new band, those three guys. Well, they did one rehearsal, and they didn't have a singer. And they asked John, do you know anyone that can sing? John called me.
Yeah.
In 1974.
And then you started.
He said, would you like to come and play with three musicians from Three Dog Night? I said, John, try and stop me. That was my favorite band.
For sure.
Oh my God, they were so wonderful, Three Dog Night. I was doing a lot of Three Dog Night songs.
So this is the cool things. This is the entry in that, and then we go to 1977 with the founding of Toto.
Okay, well this was 74.
Yes.
And I did an album and a tour with that band. They were called SS Fools.
Okay.
Okay, but when I got to Los Angeles in 1974 and we started rehearsing for 2 solid months.
Yes.
Okay? But David Paich and Jeff Porcaro were such great friends with those guys from Three Dog Night.
Ah, this is the connection.
Both of them came to about 1/3 of the rehearsals we did for 2 months.
Yeah.
And they were standing or sitting about 4 feet from me playing the piano and singing with that band.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to meet them several times. And I thought, wow, these guys are so fantastic. Well, anyhow, when they decided to put a band together, I was with SS Fools for about 15 months. Mm-hmm. Then I left that band, and I started playing with 6 local bands in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, I was making a lot more money than I was with the SS Fools band, because the manager was taking a lot of the money.
My God.
He was the manager of Three Dog Night.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, anyhow, I left the band, and so anyhow, about 3 months after I was playing with those 6 bands in Los Angeles, I got a call from Jeff Porcaro and David Paich. And what had happened is David had driven over to Jeff's house, and they talked for about 2 hours about putting a band together. They didn't know a name for the band yet.
Yes.
But there was a television right across from them that was on while they were talking for 2 hours. And when they stopped talking about the band, they looked at the television, and the movie The Wizard of Oz was on. And this little dog ran out of the house, and someone ran behind it, and the dog's name was Toto, and the guy behind him said, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. And the dog stopped. But Jeff Porcaro told David, he says, my God, that would be the perfect name for our band.
And this is really a perfect story for that. My God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff named the band.
Jeff named the band.
And David agreed.
And then the success began, and as we all know, you did a lot of great albums and a lot of big hits, from Hold the Line to Rosanna to Africa, everything where you were included. And then there was which is really nice, because we want to speak about the new album next.
Yes.
Bobby Kimball is not with Toto anymore, that we all know. Do you?
I was with Toto 2 times.
2 times, yes.
From 1977 until 1984, and then I got a call from David Paich and Steve Lukather in 1998, and they asked me to come back to Toto.
Yeah.
And I did.
And you did?
I was with them for 18 years altogether.
Yeah, and there are a lot of great albums.
And I was so happy to be with them.
And you are still friends, you told me yesterday, so this is really great.
I still love everyone in that band, and I love their music. I love everything they do.
So, as we now know about the name of Toto, but what is nice, because Bobby has a very brand new, great solo album, and the title is... We are not in Kansas anymore.
Bobby Kimball, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
Not Toto.
So
I didn't want to put Toto on there because that would be wrong for me. That would be wrong for me to do that. I would never ever want to do things bad with the name Toto.
Yeah.
Now I have to tell you something. Lots of concerts. I play a ton of concerts every year. And some of the promoters around the world, because they knew that I was singing with Toto before, I look at their advertisement and they have Toto written so big, and it's his original lead singer of Toto written real small.
Yeah.
And I cancel the concerts if they do that.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking to a promoter, I tell them, if you put my name 100% big and original lead singer of Toto 50% smaller, if you do that, I'll come and play your concert. Yeah. But otherwise, no thank you. I do not want people to think that it's a Toto concert.
Yeah.
And if it is a Toto concert, I would love to go and see it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, I love their concerts.
Because you're a friend with them. But let's speak about the new album, which is really great. I could hear yesterday 3 tunes, which are already on YouTube.
Oh, you heard them?
I heard them.
Wonderful.
It's a perfect production. So please tell us a little bit about the new album, because it's not yet released in Germany, but we have a CD also, and it is out in Japan, and it's out in USA. But the release in Germany will be next.
Yes.
So how did the album came together, the songwriting, the recording, and who played on the record?
Okay, well, you'll have to grab the CD to see all of the musicians. Anyhow, some of them were new to me, but they are so fantastic, the musicians. However, the co-writer and the co-producer of my new solo CD is one of my best friends. His name is John Zeka. John Zeka and me, we did, in 1999, we did an album called All I Ever Needed. And that was a good album too. And
really.
It sold a ton of copies.
Yeah.
Now, I have to tell you, we released this album on King Records in Japan, and King Records is so honest. They don't steal your money, and I love that. However, we have sold thousands and thousands of CDs in Japan.
Yeah.
And they've actually put it on the internet on Amazon.com, but it's more expensive on the internet if you buy it.
Yeah.
And so me and John Zeka, we came to Europe, and In Acoustic Records is going to sell the album in stores. Cleopatra Records in the U.S. is going to sell it in the U.S.
Yeah.
And we're hiring labels all around the world. I say we're hiring. Actually, they are, they're joining us. We're not hiring them.
And did you write the songs before, or was it more the session work in the studios, or was everything written?
We wrote everything before.
Before, okay.
And went in the studio and hired a lot of great musicians in Los Angeles.
So you had a clear vision about the album, what songs you want to have, about the sound you want to have,
Absolutely.
because it is a perfect produced album. Has a great sound, which I never thought that it will have, because nowadays all the bands produce low-level albums, fast recorded albums. So this is really a great album. So how much time you spent in the studio for recording everything?
Actually, we spent about I don't know, eight or 10 months getting everything done.
So it was really
And I really love that. After I did the vocals on all of the songs, I went back in the studio and did the vocals on 4 of those songs again. Yeah, because when they were mastering,
Yes.
They said that they needed a little different, just a little different melody or something.
Yeah.
Well, I went back in and did that, and I changed a lot of the lyrics while I was singing the songs.
Yes, cool.
Well, I just felt like, oh, this line would be better than the line that's there right now.
What is your favorite song on the album? And can you sing a little bit, just an unplugged version now, immediately?
I think the first single we're going to release is called On My Feet.
Okay.
I'm on my feet once again.
Great.
It's
Perfect.
Oh, man. And there's so many songs I love on this album. If you listen to the whole thing, it'll make you feel good.
Yeah, it's a great album, and this brings us to the next question. So, Bobby, as you are one of the best rock singers ever, what were your hero that made you start going into your music career?
Well, actually, I started listening to Ray Charles when I was 5 years old.
A little early.
Yes.
Wow.
I have to tell you, when I was 4.5 years old, okay?
Yes.
Little bitty kid, my mother always had perfect pitch.
Really?
Okay. Anything she heard on the radio or on an album, she could sit at the piano and play it absolutely 100% perfect.
The perfect hearing.
Perfect pitch.
Wow,
is
the perfect pitch.
Okay. Well, I would stand there next to her and watch her play for about an hour.
Yeah.
And when I was 4.5, she looked at me. She said, "Bobby, can I teach you some chords on the piano?" I said, "Oh, Mom, I love you." Well, 4.5 to 5
Yes.
years old, she taught me 300 chords.
No. You're kidding.
And I would sit and play the piano for about an hour, just playing all these chords. But I have to tell you, I didn't know one thing about rhythm. I just knew chords.
Yes.
Well, when I was 5 years old, now I have to tell you, I was living in Louisiana in a town very small. 3,000 people in this whole town.
Yeah.
It was so small. And there was only one red light, one main street, one barbershop, whatever, one anything. But I went to the barbershop when I was 5 years old. Again, I had gone there before. But when I was getting a haircut, about 6 feet across from me, there was this black guy who was 52 years old. I was 5. Okay. And his back was facing me. He was standing up and shining shoes.
Yes.
Yes. And anyhow, he was popping the shoe shine rag to a New Orleans second line beat.
Wow.
And I was listening to that. It was freaking me out because his rhythm was so unbelievable. And I have to tell you, when I was 5 and he was 52, in that little town in Louisiana of 3,000 people, my God, white people and black people, they did not hardly ever communicate.
Not in
White
these
people
times,
did not name.
Yeah.
They didn't call a black person by their real name. They
Yeah.
would nickname
Yeah.
them all the time. Well, he was tanning leather shoes, and they called him Tanner.
Yeah.
Well, after I got the haircut and I was listening to his rhythm, I walked over and he told me his name. He said, "My name is Tanner." And I said, "Tanner, can I watch you for a few weeks and learn some rhythm from you?" Well, I went there every day for 3 weeks, and I was sitting on a couch about 3 feet from where he was standing.
Wow. With 5 years old.
Yes, I was 5, he was 52.
Wow.
And the thing is, he seemed to like me a lot.
Yes.
I seemed to love his rhythm so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Well, I was sitting about 3 feet from him, and anyhow, every now and then, not only was he popping that shoe shine rag, well, anyhow, not only was he popping the rag, every now and then he was humming
Yes.
the song that he was shining the shoes and popping that
Yeah.
rag to. All New Orleans songs.
Yeah.
And oh my God, some of my favorites.
So you came to
They're
this music.
so unbelievable.
in
I
that
went there
age.
for 3 weeks.
Wow.
And I would watch him for about 30 or 40 minutes. Then I would run 4 blocks to my house, use his rhythm, my mother's cards, and I started playing the piano kind of nicely when I was 5 years old.
Unbelievable.
I wrote some songs when I was 5 years old.
You're crazy. You're totally crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Well,
It's
the thing
unbelievable,
is,
sorry.
Tanner, after 3 weeks of me watching his rhythm, we became very good friends. And white and black people were not friends there.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, after that, I started going to the barbershop after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There's, what is that? 5 o'clock, that's, no, 1700 is 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
1500.
Yeah.
No, that's 3.
It's
17.
17.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, I would go after he got off work once a week.
Yes.
And after he got off work, we would walk up and down this main street. It was only about 1 block long.
Yeah.
But I looked at the signs over everything, the stores, everything. And it said white entrance, colored entrance. Black people had to go through the back of a store.
My God.
Well, and drinking fountain, restrooms, everything had signs over
Yeah.
it. Well, the second week that I went and saw him after 5, and we were walking for 30 minutes up and down that street, I said, "Tanner, how do those signs make you feel? Like you're not a human being, or like you're a slave?"
Yeah.
And he tapped me on the shoulder and he said, Bobby, please. He says, "Don't take orders from anyone." He said, "And please, Bobby, don't give orders to anyone." He said, "And a little advice, never, ever spend a moment of your life full of hate or full of anger at anyone or anything."
What a wise man.
Yes, and this is why he became my best friend.
Yeah.
And he said, "My best advice I can give you is, if from this very second right now until the day you die, don't do anything that will not make you the happiest possible person you can possibly be.
This is true. This
Do
is
everything
absolutely
that
true.
makes you the happiest
Yeah, this is
person
absolutely true.
you can be in this whole world."
Wow, what a wise man.
And after getting that advice, that was so wonderful. Well, he was 52, I was 5.
Yeah.
And we kept seeing each other once a week.
Yeah.
He was so nice. And his wife was wonderful. Well, the thing is, when I was 12 years old. Oh, by the way, my first band, I was 8 years old.
You crazy.
Okay, yeah, and that was so fun. But anyhow, when I was 12 years old, I was playing at a bunch of clubs right between my hometown, and we were 8 miles from the Texas border.
Yeah.
Okay, well, between the Texas border and my hometown, that 8 miles, 4 miles from my hometown and 4 miles from Texas, there were a bunch of huge clubs that would hold 10,000, 8,000, 7,000, I played these clubs with a band about 30 miles from my hometown, Lake Charles.
Wow.
And all of the guys in that band were 23 to 25
Wow,
years.
and you were
25
12.
years. I was 12. I was playing piano and I would sing for sometimes 5 songs. Well, playing those clubs. But anyhow, my mother and father had to do a one-page agreement and sign it.
Yeah.
So I had to show the police, the club owner, the security people.
Yeah.
Well, that was okay. And they always told me, don't go to the bar. I said, don't worry, I'm just going to be on the stage. And the thing is being 12 years old, my mother asked me to get on my bicycle early in the morning. She was making coffee for my 2 brothers, my sister, and my father, who were still asleep.
Wow.
She didn't have any milk. She said, go to the market across the railroad track and get a container of milk. Well, in the white neighborhood, they had 3 railroad crossings, but when I was pulling away from the house on my bike, I heard a train.
Yeah.
And in the black neighborhood, there was 1 crossing.
Yeah.
But in the white neighborhood, the 3 crossings had a gate. You could not go across the railroad track on. In the black neighborhood, they did not have a gate on there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, the thing is to the right, if you were going toward the track, to the right, there was a big building that they used to take everything from the train and put it on inside that building. If the train wasn't going all the way through the town, without stopping. Well, I went to the crossing in the black neighborhood, and there was no gate to stop me. So I thought, I'll just go across, I'll get the milk, get back home. Well, the train whistle kept getting louder. And this big building to my right was 200 feet wide and 500 feet long. And I was thinking, don't go across the track until the train goes.
Yeah.
Well, the train whistle stopped for 3 seconds. And all of a sudden, I was on the side of the road. All of a sudden, I heard a car coming up behind me. Well, I turned around and looked, and I noticed something pretty crazy. The windows in that car were up.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was thinking, oh my God, they cannot hear the train.
My God.
And I couldn't see the train, and I knew they wouldn't be able to see the train. Okay? Well, the deal is, when the train whistle started again, I turned around and looked at the car again. Tanner was the passenger. My absolute best friend.
Yeah.
He was the passenger. I jumped off of my bicycle and threw it on the ground, and I was going to try to run in front of their car on the street.
To stop them.
And throw my arms up and say, please, please stop. And anyhow, the car was going pretty fast. And when I got to the car, I was at the door, not in front.
Yes.
And I slapped the door, but I could hear the radio so loud through the windows that were up. They couldn't hear the train. And they kept going. And 10 feet in front of my face, I watched the train hit their car.
My God.
And it knocked their car 1,200 feet My God, I ran over to their car after the train hit them, and it looked like the two front doors were about 2.5 feet apart.
My God.
They were just, oh my God, they were so smashed. And I looked down at the bottom of Tanner's door.
Yeah.
It looked like some idiot was pouring 3 buckets of blood out of that door. I got on my bicycle and rode back home, went to bed and cried.
Yeah.
I was so freaking out because such a great friend that was giving me great advice.
Dying in front of you.
Yes,
that way.
And he was helping me with a lot of things. He was such a great guy.
What a hero for you, what an idol, what a wise man. So, what a story, my God. Bobby, the next question. As you told me yesterday, you're playing with 9 different bands at the moment, all over the world.
All over the world.
Who you're doing 250 days of spending on the road, you told me yesterday.
Right, but not 250 concerts.
No, that is clear.
Just on the road.
Because
sometimes
a lot of
go
traveling.
rehearse a little bit, or
So
just
this
spend
is
a little
really
bit of time.
crazy, because this is most of the year Bobby is playing with 9 bands all over the world. And as we know, you've done a lot of music things, starting with 5 years. But is there one thing in music which you say, maybe one day I will do it, because you haven't done it yet? Is there one wish, a concert with an orchestra or something? Is there something you
Actually, there is an agent who is a great friend of mine. He's not my only agent, and I book most of my concerts by email.
Yeah.
But this agent from Belgium, he just booked 25 concerts all over the world. And the thing is he asked a really great friend of mine who is his name is Philip Meyer.
Yeah.
And I met Philip Meyer when I was playing the Dubai Jazz Festival in 2007. And Philip is the guy, he's from Germany, but he was living in Dubai then, and he organized the Dubai Symphony Orchestra, conducted them, arranged everything. He is so fantastic. I couldn't believe it. Well, anyhow, Philip is going to be on those 25 dates with an orchestra for me and a rock band.
Yeah, so this means an orchestra joining you and the rock band, so a really big rock classic thing.
And I absolutely love doing a concert with an orchestra and a rock band.
Cool, though the wish come true. The next question, a little tricky one. Maybe you have a funny story, or tell us a funny story about yourself nobody knows.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it I told you?
I don't know. A really funny story, or a turbo secret, or a secret about nobody knows about Bobby Kimball.
They don't?
I don't know.
Well, let me tell you something else.
Yeah.
When Tanner was killed, and I was about, when I got to be about 17 years old.
Yes.
Okay. He was always in my mind and in
Your
my heart.
For sure.
Because of all of the things he helped me with, all of the things he told me about great living advice and so forth. He was such a wonderful person. And I wrote a song called Tanner's Song. But I didn't record it. I played it for several thousand people, and they absolutely loved this song. Well, in 2010, oh my God, I got a call from the CEO of the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame in New Orleans. And they said, "We want to induct you into the Hall of Fame. Come down in 14 days. Well, I got to thinking, Bobby, don't go there unless you record Tanner's song.
Wow.
And I did.
Wow.
And I played it for those people.
Wow.
And it looked like they were about to pass out. They were loving it so much. Well, when I got back home in Los Angeles, I started writing a book about Tanner. And I wanted to let 5-year-old people, 5-year-old kids, and everyone else,
Wow. Yes.
every age, but 5-year-olds, that would be good, to let them know Tanner's advice that he had given me so many times.
Yes.
And the thing is, I got to page 15 and I went, oh my God, Bobby, don't write a book. Write a movie, because 5-year-old kids are not going to read your book. They will be able to see your movie, and they will be able to get the advice that you learned when you were 5 years old, Bobby.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote a 75-page story, and I hired a screenplay writer. And this screenplay writer, when he wrote about a 160-page story out of mine, screenplay writers, they add things that are so incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and he made the story about 10 times better.
Wow.
Well, in the next 3 months, we're going to film it. It's called Tanner's Song.
Ah, this is coming out. Wow.
Yes,
This is cool, because this is really a story nobody knew before. So, at last, some words to your fans, please, Bobby. The last thing, just some words to your fans.
Well, any fans that I have, I absolutely adore them. They are wonderful people. You know, when I go and play a concert and I see people smiling, and I let them know, I'm going to come out into the audience after the concert. We'll take pictures, I'll do autographs, or you're all welcome to come backstage and do the same thing. It's okay. I love you.
Perfect. Thank you, Bobby. This was a great interview. Thank you a lot.